Hi Siri, I'm looking for a new podcast, one that preferably is hosted by a UF Hall of Famer, one that airs every weekday that would bring me everything I need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions. Siri, is there such a show?
Have you heard of PodUp with Matthews in the morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or any podcast platform?
Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? UF Hall of Famer Shane Matthews has a show every weekday. I'm gonna go check it out tomorrow. Thanks, Siri.
Good morning. You're looking live at PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Got a good show lineup today. Want to thank James Bates, whole 4-4. Hey, 4-4, get your ass in gear, 4-4.
4-4, yeah.
For introducing the program today. We're going to have JC here in just a second on the Titan More Hotline. We're going to have Matt Baker from the Tampa Bay Times give us his thoughts on college football and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what's going on down there. If you missed it, Anthony Richardson's been named starter. Doesn't surprise me one bit for the Indianapolis Colts. JC, you're on the Titan More Hotline. What's going on?
QB, how was my man James at the event on Monday night? Did he have any good stories, make everybody laugh like he usually does?
Who?
James Bates.
Oh, I saw Bates for literally like 1 second.
Oh, okay. Well, so he wasn't.
I don't know if he had any stories or not.
Well, okay. Well, who was the feature guy? Was Doring there running around with his guns shipped going and everything?
I saw Doring for about maybe 1 minute.
Tell you, if you look at Doring these days, he looks like a linebacker, man. He's pumped himself up. Looks good.
Well, when you wear tighter shirts, that helps.
Yeah. He's got the Euro cut. There's no doubt. Good for
him.
He
just wears a large. If I wore a large, I'd look big too.
Yeah, large. Yeah. Doing well last night, man. I think I threw in the towel. I waved the white flag officially on the New York Yankees for 2023.
Wow.
One hit by the Braves last night. Sweep Rooney. 5-0 Atlanta wins, a one-hitter. The Yankees are 60-60. That's 500. And they haven't been 500 or worse into 120 games this season since 1995. So they played 120 games. They're 60-60, and they haven't been this bad since 1995. That tells you.
And I don't give a damn.
Well, you don't like the Yankees, but they're the team that everybody goes to see when they travel for sure. Also saw a disturbing story. I don't know if you and Buddy talked about this yesterday. I didn't get a chance to watch you and Buddy. I usually do, but for some reason I missed it. This thing with the Blind Side movie and this guy talked to it and Michael Orr, dude, it is so tragic because, basically now they don't like each other. Now, it's gotten to about money now. And, the Tuohys say the guy is blackmailing them by going public with his story if they don't pay him $15 million. Doesn't that sound like a money grab to you? And I don't know his side of the story, so I can't judge one way or the other what's right or what's wrong. But my God, they took him into their house for 2-3 years, got him to college, and then he went to the NFL. Without them, he doesn't do any of that. So I don't know it's all about money. And this little argument they're having is probably not little either. And it's kind of hard.
Thinking Michael Orr's not playing ball anymore, is he?
Right. He's run. Yeah. And so the skeptic on his end would say, oh, gosh, well, he's run out of money. Yeah. NFL guy doesn't know what to do with his money, blew it all. Now he needs more. Tuohys say, well, sorry, dude, you can have a room. And he's probably saying, well, I want $15 million, or else I'm going to tell everybody what you guys are all about. So I don't know. It's pretty sad. You can't watch that movie anymore, dude. You can't watch a rewind of that movie anymore now because it's all a lie. Because now, well, it's not a lie.
Sandra Bullock was lying to everybody.
Well, I don't know if they were lying, but boy, he sure didn't account for the events of that movie, did he? I mean, he kind of disputed everything that happened in that movie. It's just too bad. I just can't believe it, really. So you saw that story, right? You saw that?
Yeah, I saw it. It's sad. It definitely is. Somebody on here said Doring wears a schmedium. Greg says Doring wears a schmedium shirt. Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
schmedium. We got a text on the Titan More text line from Daryl. He says, "Good morning, guys. I'm not a fan of the black uniforms. Blue on blue looks like Boise. Orange on orange looks like Clemson.
Yes.
It's time to change the logo on our helmet to the interlocking UF or the block F."
Yes. Yes,
I have no problem changing the logo on the helmet, but I do not like the interlocking UF. It does not. The proportionate of the U is way bigger than the F. It doesn't look right. If they do anything, they need to put the new F on the side of the helmet. So,
all that he said about the black is right. I don't know.
I'm not a fan of it either, but
don't know
they're going to sell. They're going to sell the uniforms. It's all for military appreciation, is what it's about. So,
okay.
Joey says, Shane, do the Gators have enough talent to win 10 games based on your watching practices? Look, to win 10 games, a lot of stuff has to happen. Go your way. The ball has to bounce your way. But my answer is, can they win 10 games? Yes. Do I think they're going to win 10? Probably not. But yes, they could win 10.
So I heard somebody talking about Graham Mertz yesterday. He's really good on the radio. He was saying the thing with Graham Mertz is that there's two things that have to happen for him to be successful here.
Hang on just a second. Hang on. Hold that thought. Joseph says Sandra Bullock has nothing to be ashamed of in that movie. She looked and acted amazing. I was kidding, Joseph. I know Sandra Bullock has nothing to do with this. She's just the actress. All right, go back to Graham Mertz. Go, JC.
Well, what he was saying was, and was that basically okay? So Graham Mertz's career passing percentage is 57%. So that, by comparison, is rather low. So that needs to go up. And granted, we have to remember that he played at Wisconsin, and there were many games where Wisconsin's wide receivers were just not open, period. I mean, you can look at the Northwestern game they played, and nobody was open. I saw the example of that, and it was hard for him. But he has to improve on that 57% passing efficiency rate. And one of the things that has to also happen is that yards per attempt needs to be more than 9 yards.
Okay, so can I stop you right there real quick? Just to mention something?
Yeah.
His completion percentage will be way higher because you got to remember, the only time when you drop back when it's 3rd and 10, your completion percentage is going to be extremely low.
And okay, so that's where I get to yards per attempt, and we want it to be above 9 yards. When Joe Burrow and Mac Jones were throwing for 75% or better in their seasons, senior seasons, and those are two bad examples, of course. But to be really successful, you better be in the high 60s. You better be in the high 60s.
He'll be well over 60%. I'll bet anybody in America.
I want him to be 68, 69%.
And that's really good, JC. And 9 yards per attempt is pretty good.
Yes, you have to. Right. So if you're going to be successful, you can't be just dumping off this. It's kind of like, you told me a long time ago, it shouldn't be that difficult. I mean, if you look at the defense and you see one safety or you see two safeties, you know what to do. Well, in this case, they need to be able to extend their plays through the air and extend the yardage. Now, granted, down and distance means a lot, and they're going to throw on first down. They're going to throw on second down. They're not just going to hand it off and have 3rd and 10 like they did at Wisconsin. So that's going to hopefully improve. I mean, you're going to hopefully improve. Those two numbers have to go up. Now, he was 59.5% the year before. He was 57%. So he spent 2 years throwing for less than 60%. Those numbers.
And I could care less what. Like I said, I don't. It was the system. And Reggie says, "Come on, Trask only was at 67%." So
yeah, 67%. Well, what that isn't Reggie making my point? I mean, I mean
that you're talking about elite throwers. He will be around 60 to 64%.
You want to win? I mean, do you guys want to be 6-6 again? You want to go 7-5? I'm just saying, if you're going to get to those 10 wins or 9 wins.
He does not have to be at 68% to win 10
He has
games.
to throw in the mid to upper 60s. I think he does.
I mean, Joe Burrow only threw at 68%, and he had nothing but
Joe
NFL.
Burrow was in the 70s, dude. He was in the mid to upper 70s in the senior year, and so was Mac Jones. Now, those are maybe, like I said, two bad examples because those guys had.
But you're also talking about first-round draft picks, JC.
Right? But they're first-round draft picks because they had elite guys all around, everywhere. You got Jamar Chase over here, and you got Devontae Smith over there. But look, are we going to talk about what we hope is going to happen or what we think needs to happen for it to happen? And that's the thing. I can talk about hope all I want. I hope it doesn't rain today. But I'm saying that for these things to happen, you need those kinds of numbers, and that's all I'm making.
Look, I'm telling you right now, he will be well over 60%. But too many people are focusing on him. The problem, the issue with this team to win a lot of games is going to be the front seven on defense. Front seven on defense. That's where the worst part of the football team has been for the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And too many people pay attention. Somebody just mentioned that somebody on SEC Now said that Graham Mertz need to be a game manager. Graham Mertz is going to be fine. I'm telling you, people, I don't know why people are so worried about him.
Well,
because they're going to be a damn good offense. I'm telling you right now.
You know why people are worried about him. But
why? Like I said, this has nothing to do with Anthony Richardson. But would you feel better if Anthony Richardson was coming back to be the starting quarterback? I would not.
Listen,
because I've seen him play too many years.
I get it. You're all about Graham Mertz guy. Listen, he's your.
I'm not. No. I'm about. It could be you, JC. If you're a consistent player and you all know how to play the position, that's all that freaking matters. I had to do a show with Dorian yesterday and Coach Spurrier, and we talked about it. Too many people in today's world get enamored with the damn stuff that has nothing to do with playing quarterback.
True, but QB, we're trying to win games here. We're not
right, and I'm telling you how we're going to win games.
Right, we're not doing a QB academy. And you talk about consistency. He was not consistent at Wisconsin.
That's not his. That could not be his. JC, you just stated you watched Wisconsin play football. Okay, my point is, I don't know if Danny Werfel or Rex Grossman could have a higher percentage of throwing the football at Wisconsin when you're at 3rd and 12. And you're trying to complete passes, that's not possible.
But all I'm trying to point out is what is necessary for him to be successful.
Well, I've already told you he's going to be successful. What's necessary for the Florida Gators to win games is the front seven on defense to whip people's asses.
Listen, that's been lacking. There's no doubt about that.
Okay,
but I'm talking about the other side.
Listen, we've won 6 games the last 2 years with you playing defensive line.
So
do you think if we improve the front seven with no more JCs on defense, that you're going to be a better football team? And we have improved there. I'm not worried about the quarterback position.
Well, I am worried about the quarterback position.
You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. Like I said, would you feel better if 15 was playing quarterback? I'm just asking.
I think he'd be better than last year. Yeah, I do. But
that's where I don't understand when people say that, because JC, you saw it. We're not even going to go there. Okay. JC, you should be worried about Bama's QB situation is what James says on TV.
Well, you want me to talk about Alabama on your show all day? I'll do it. I mean,
but let me ask you, are you concerned about their quarterback? Answer the question.
No, I'm not.
That's bull crap.
What? QB, wait a minute. I got a stat for you. It's my favorite stat. You know what it is? And I've told this to you. I know this.
Nick Saban has won a national championship with a first year. Okay, I agree. That's great. But I can tell you one thing. You have to sit here and you honestly tell me you're not worried about the quarterback position of Alabama.
I will worry if they actually do start Milroe, but I'll have to trust, just like you say, trust the coaches. You say that more than anybody in America. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trust the coaches. Let's talk about that. They've won 7 of the last 11 SEC titles. Georgia has won the SEC East 5 out of the last 6 years, okay? You guys are talking about 8 wins. These are things that are nice, but that's not what anybody really cares about. I mean, so you win 8 games. Where are you at?
Well, JC, let's be honest. Alabama, if they play Georgia, ain't beating Georgia, okay? So don't get on this damn Alabama, Georgia thing.
Hold on a minute.
Georgia is better than everybody in the league. Let's be honest.
Although
I think they're going to go backwards because Stetson Bennett's not there.
Well, they'll still have defense. They'll still have a lot. Look,
they will.
Nobody is confusing Georgia.
When you just started talking about Florida, look, we know everybody in America that has a heartbeat knows Florida is not as good as Georgia. So you don't need to bring that up on the program.
Listen, bro. I'm just simply. Wow, you're getting defensive this morning. All I'm saying is,
because you're making no sense.
What are you talking about? I'm talking about what everybody's talking about. I'm saying the same thing. I'm not being paid by anybody to talk about Florida. I'm just saying what people are saying. Look, the thing is that Mertz has got to be good. Okay,
look. Graham Mertz could be the player of the year in the conference, and Florida still not have success if the defense doesn't do their job. Okay.
Well,
I'm telling you. I don't work for the SEC network, but those Jacklegs do not go to practice, do they? No. Okay. They're sitting in a studio in Charlotte, North Carolina, or some other guy, some beat writer from somewhere else. I'm telling you right now, the offense will be fine. It's the front seven that will determine whether the Florida Gators win 8 or 9 games this year. You can take that to the bank.
Take that to the bank. I'm writing it down. Taking it to the bank.
It ain't the quarterback.
We're going to the bank, and we're going to make a deposit. It's about the front seven. It ain't about the quarterback.
Which, if you have paid attention to this program about the last 3 years, you would have known that.
Front seven. It ain't about the quarterback. Okay.
No, the quarterback's going to be fine.
Okay. All right. A lot of people
like I just asked you again. What would make you feel better about the Florida Gators if Anthony was the quarterback? I'm just asking.
The front seven.
They won 6 games last year.
If the front seven was better and Anthony's playing quarterback, you're not telling me they win more than 6?
They might, but I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you from a guy who has played the position and had watched every quarterback play. Okay. There was no consistency there. You cannot argue with me there.
I get it. So in one side of your mouth, you're talking about the front seven has to be better, and it ain't about the quarterback. And then in the other side of your mouth, you're saying Anthony Richardson sucks, and this is going to be a lot better.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said he is not a consistent player.
Let's talk right, normal here. You're saying that Anthony Richardson Florida would have been worse with him this year than who they're going to have this year without the front seven having anything to do with it. Look, Anthony's going to be better and win more games if the front seven is going to be better, just like Graham.
That's possible if he's a consistent player. Was there consistency there? Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
But you're also saying that the level of consistency without seeing one play is going to go right up through the roof.
I will bet you anything you want.
Okay, that's fine.
JC, when you can take your playbook from this to that. Mm-hmm. It makes a difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Better hope like hell they can catch.
They have some legit true freshman receivers that we haven't had here in 15 years.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just telling you.
You know how you beat Georgia, by the way? And
look, the record, we're not worried about beating Georgia right now, JC.
Dude, you're gonna play them. Look, I mean, don't say the game's over before it's even been played. But here's the thing:
we got to worry about beating Utah. Look, I'm going to teach you how to play football. You worry about who's on your schedule the next game.
No kidding. I get that. And I understand that. But for the record, the last 2 times they played Georgia, they're 1-1, Alabama. And they beat them 10 out of 11 times? So I'm not worried about Georgia and Alabama. You got Georgia all the way up here. And it's great. It's understandable the last 2 years. And then, of course, the schedule they have this year is asinine. But, gosh, you got them on a schedule. You know how you beat them? The same way Ohio State should have beat them, and the same way Alabama would have beat them if they had the receivers. You got to have guys that can catch a football. All I'm asking you is, does Florida have guys that can catch football down the field?
Yes, they have 3 true freshmen that I compare to Ike, Riedel, and Jaquez Green.
Well, okay. All right, so the Gators have a more consistent quarterback, and they have Ike, Riedel, and Jaquez Green. You're telling me they ain't gonna have a chance against Georgia?
I'm not worried about Georgia right now. We'll worry about Georgia when we get to Georgia.
Well, okay.
I'm just telling you.
Look, I don't care about coach speak right now. I don't want to talk about one game at a time shit. I'm talking about what kind of season they're going to have. They're going to win
JC, if you don't win the earlier games, the Georgia game does not matter.
I get it. Nobody's arguing that.
Okay, again, don't argue with somebody that's actually put on the pads when you have done nothing.
So why don't you just talk to the screen door? Okay,
I will.
God forbid, if I'm just going to sit here and say crap that you just don't even want to listen to, then what do I do?
Because you're not making any sense.
I am making sense. I'm saying you're talking about a guy who's going to bring the quarterback position to a level of consistency when he has never done it before. You're talking about the front seven.
Okay.
Hang
on a second. You say I speak out of both sides of my mouth. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. You just said I'm talking about Graham Mertz taking the quarterback level to a level of consistency. Did I say that? I did say that. Okay. Mm-hmm. But then just because if Anthony came back, do you think he's going to be more consistent?
I think he'll be better, yeah. So I think that would be
Wow. So what's the difference between Graham Mertz?
Because remember, Anthony didn't play. How many games does Anthony play as a college football player?
I don't give a damn.
Well, it matters because the more you
does
play, the
not.
better you. I think it does.
I disagree with that. I disagree.
Well, the
with
Colts
that
made him the 4th pick of the draft, QB. So
That's
go talk to them.
congratulations. Congratulations. I don't care. It has nothing to do with the Florida Gators right now.
I think he'd be better if he played this year. Yes.
I disagree. Everybody says that. I disagree.
Well, good. You disagree with everybody who says that. Okay. Does that make you right? No.
No, it's my opinion.
Well, my opinion is that he'd be better with another year. Yeah.
Okay, that's where, okay, I go on what I've seen, and it has nothing to do with just him. It's other quarterbacks. Just because you come back and you play more does not make you a better player. It's no different than when you read the damn Field Steel magazine. They have 16 starters coming back from a 2-12 team. Okay, they suck probably.
Experience helps you, QB. You get better if you have the ability to play with experience.
I agree to a degree, but once you've seen player X do the same thing for 5 or 6 years, what makes you think the light bulb's going to go off and it's going to change?
Player X didn't play here for 5 or 6 years. He played about 10 games, maybe. So
yeah,
but your sample size is not that good.
That I disagree. The sample size goes back to high school. The sample size is no different than when you talk about this quarterback that's at Alabama.
He's a different kid than he was.
He did that.
Well,
so anyway, let's move on. We got to get to the Peachland Dental golf picks.
Great.
Gator Nation.
Everybody cares about that, right?
Dentistry in Port Charlotte, surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. All right, who are you picking in the only 30 golfers or 50 golfers?
All right, 30. I mean, we can sit here and agree with each other all day and put people to sleep. I'm not here for that. If you want somebody to do that, you got 20 people you can call. You don't need me for that.
No, I am just stating my opinion. That's your opinion.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with Anthony Richardson. I just think if Anthony, I'd seen him play in high school. I've seen him play at Florida. I saw him play. I went and watched the game the other day. Looks like the same player.
Well, I was talking about
Graham can make him a great NFL player. I hope he does.
I was talking about Graham,
but we
talked about Anthony Richardson.
But we're talking about. Let's go talk about Trey Dean at safety. I've seen enough. I don't think if he came back for another year, would he be better? No. At some point, a guy is a guy, and I think wholeheartedly the Florida Gators will win a lot of games due to their offense is going to be very good. But it's going to come down to the front seven on defense.
All right, let's go with. I'm going to take in the BMW Championship. We're in Chicagoland at Olympia Fields, which is an absolutely stunning place in the suburbs. I'm going to take Ricky Fowler.
All right, I'm taking Victor Hovland.
Oh, well, shocker. Okay, Victor Hovland. All right. Well, I won't take your Korean golfers, so don't worry. You can take them. I'm going to take you're like the captain of the Korean Ryder Cup team.
I would love it. We beat everybody's ass. I know that. They're freaking consistent as heck.
Yeah, they are very good. All right. Well, gee, wonder if they played quarterback here at Florida, if we would win more games. We had a Korean quarterback, maybe. Let's go with let's go with. I like Max Homa. I like the way he's playing. Give me Max. Yep.
Max Homa. I want Sun J.M.
All right. Okay. I'm going to take the British Open champion, Brian Harman.
Harman?
Yep.
And I'm going to take Xander Schauffele. Real quick, Van Der says you never watched him in high school. Get off the guy's back. Look, this has nothing against him, Van Der. I coached against him for 4 years. They were not very good. It's as simple as that. Not him, but the team was not very good.
He played at Eastside High School.
I know he did, but again,
come on.
This has nothing to do with the kid. I hope he's successful. We could be talking about a damn left guard too. The evaluation process is what it is.
Well, somebody liked him.
I agree. But again, when you're 6'5", 250 pounds, and you can jump high and throw far, they would like you too, JC, if you weren't 5'8".
Can I get one more pick in, please?
Sure, we'll do 4.
Okay. I'm going to take Rory because he's just about ready to win something. He's so close.
You always think that. You've been saying that for like 10 months.
I know, but he's been he's really great. I mean, he's great. He's finishes second place. Why don't you take Lucas and see if he can do the hat trick?
Yeah, he ain't gonna do that.
Oh, dude, the putting has changed his life. I told you that a month ago. His putter has changed his life. It's happened to Chris DeMarco. Happened to Chris DeMarco. It happened to Adam Scott. You get the putter cranking, your life changes.
But he was the best putter on tour when he won the damn U.S. Open.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Long time.
I'll take John Rahm.
Whoa. You got one of my guys. Okay.
Yep.
He's due. He is due to turn it up. He is due. All right, QB, quick. You got a few more minutes left, or are we done?
Let's see. We're waiting on Matt Baker to join us, and we're going to talk Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
All right, Matt Baker. I got your bank deposit quote right here. It's right here.
What was my quote?
Your bank deposit quote is it's all about the front seven. It ain't about the QB.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean,
yeah,
Jason, we were dead last for the last 3 years over and like hundreds in defense. And we could have had you playing at quarterback and it wouldn't have changed the record.
I know, but
until the defensive front seven, which they are remarkably improved, plays the way they're an SEC way.
What about that kid that got hurt, this edge rusher?
Well, that hurt. He was a starter.
Boone? Is his name Boone?
Justice Boone. He was a starter.
Yeah. And so how long is he out?
He tore his ACL, Jason.
Oh, if he's tore his ACL, he's out forever. Okay. Well,
Joseph says y'all are missing it. Let AR go as a millionaire now. All this hoopla doesn't matter.
I didn't bring up AR.
Regardless of what he does, he is set for life. And at the end of the day, that's the dream and goal. And I'm very happy for him. But I'm just telling y'all that I
didn't bring up AR. This guy in the Gator shirt brought up AR. I did not talk about AR
because you were comparing.
You're the one who's talking about AR.
Yeah, I'm telling you, people right now they're going to be better on offense with Graham Mertz at quarterback because he's a consistent thrower of the football. Again, I told you, it's just like I told you the other day. Why do fans, for whatever reason, whether it's AR, whether it's Johnny Manziel, whether it's Michael Vick, when they take off for 25-yard runs, why do people get so excited? I just don't understand that.
Well, listen, QB, it's pretty simple to understand that. Yeah, it is. But you're talking about from the quarterback position, what do you want to see and what do fans want to see?
Because you want to be consistent thrower of the football.
So if we have, Alvin Harper, Micah Irvin, and somebody else playing wide receiver for Graham Mertz this year, I think it's probably safe to assume that since he's got a little bit better packages around him, he'll be better maybe on the consistency front than the guy we talked about for too long. Okay, so, I mean, let's be fair about it. Dude, they had nobody to throw to last year. He had Ricky Pearsall. Maybe he was wide open all year long, but Ricky Pearsall caught 4 passes last year. I don't know.
Well, he's coming back and he looks really good. But you also had Justin Shorter who got drafted.
Where the hell was he then? I mean,
you're making my point. They have people. The word of the year is consistency. Yeah. It's not splash plays. It's consistent plays.
All right, we'll see if he can do it. He hasn't been yet, but let's see if he can at Florida. That's why he's here.
Kenny wants to know: was it the quarterback's fault that Alabama lost to Tennessee?
No, no, it really wasn't. It wasn't. Alabama beat Tennessee, if you ask me. We all know why they took that game away from us. Look, I'm not going to go back to that. They lost 2 games last year by a total of 5 points. They lost on the last play both times, and they weren't even that good on defense. Think about that. Alabama's got LSU, they've got Texas, they've got Tennessee this year. Their 3 toughest games all at home. They do have to play at Texas A&M, who could easily be 5-0 before that game. That's going to be hard. That's their schedule. Whether or not they do well is hard to say. But with 3 home games, the 3 toughest teams they play at home, I like their chances to win more than 10 games or get to 11 or more than 11. And, you look at Georgia, they have nobody difficult anywhere unless you see somebody come up out of the woodwork like maybe Florida with this Heisman Trophy quarterback you got. And then we got
there you're putting words in somebody else's mouth. That's why you look
I'm
stupid.
just making light of what you said. You're getting all.
I said he will have a great year and be a consistent quarterback. I didn't say anything about player of the year. I didn't say one thing about Heisman. I didn't say any of that.
Now, you know what? You need to loosen up a little bit, QB. You're a little
I'm very loose. I'm just stating facts.
You're very sensitive.
I'm getting facts and opinions here, and you're turning words into false accusations.
False accusation. All right. Well, I don't know what I accused that was false you of, but anyway, LSU.
You just said I said a Heisman Trophy year.
I did that. Give me take a breath. Will you get relax a little bit? It's not even 9 o'clock in the morning, and you're so serious and so sensitive. My God. I mean, I'm just going to tear you down on the golf course Saturday, and you'll lose tonight.
Well, that ain't going to happen. We know that. And speaking of that, people wanted to know if you play in a lot of scrambles, and I told them you did because I don't.
I do not. I play in the Ronald McDonald's, the Tyler's Hope, and the Stop Children's Cancer. Is that a lot? I mean, that's 3.
Mark says here, JC, what would you think about Mertz if he would have ended up going to Alabama, which his choices were Alabama, Wisconsin? How about that?
Well, if he went to Alabama, I would be just like everyone here. I'd hope for the best. But
all right, well, we got to go. We got to get to we're past time. I didn't know Matt was waiting on us. JC, go take a deep breath and go watch your highlight tapes of your completion percentages. That's JC Joyce from the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. We're going to take a quick time out. We'll come back with Matt Baker from the Tampa Bay Times.
We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte.
Campus USA Credit Union.
QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, and watch. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wibby, Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Attention all Gator fans, Meldon Law is giving away a chance to experience the Florida-Georgia game like never before. 2-night stay at the Hilton on the River, dinner at Ruth Chris Steakhouse, 2 premium tickets to the game, and a football signed by Coach Billy Napier, and much more. Go to the Meldon Law Facebook page and look for the VIP experience for 2. Good luck and go Gators!
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point is the flagship restaurant of the Florida Gators, the hottest restaurant in Florida and the heart of Gator Nation. Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Check us out at spurriers.com. I'm going to head to the Titan MR Hotline now. We're joined by Tampa Bay Times beat writer Matt Baker. How you doing, Matt? Oh, wait, I think we got him on mute.
Hey, you got me now?
We got you now. Appreciate your time. We're going to talk a little college football, but I want to jump into the NFL. Buccaneers. Obviously, there's a so-called quarterback battle going down in Tampa. I guess Kyle Trask will start the next preseason game, but what are you hearing, and who do you think will win that job between him and Baker Mayfield?
I think it'll be Baker Mayfield. I feel fairly confident about that. I mean, the fact that the Bucs felt the need to bring in another quarterback in addition to Kyle Trask anyway, that to me kind of speaks a lot about what they thought of him. I mean, obviously he was brought in under kind of different coaching staff to some degree, and maybe he didn't necessarily get a fair shake just because he was getting kind of the number 3 reps and scout team stuff and what have you behind Brady. But the fact that they brought in Baker Mayfield said to me that they didn't necessarily have a ton of confidence that he was going to be the guy. And then you look at the preseason games, take them for what they're worth, but you look at the way Baker performed the other night and the way that Trask performed, it seems like it's Baker Mayfield's job to lose. Although they are, as you said, going to give Kyle Trask the shot against the Jets just to see what he can do.
Yeah, it surprises me because, when Trask was drafted, what was he, the last pick of the second draft, I guess, a few years ago? That's pretty high to take a quarterback to not kind of turn it over to him eventually, don't you think?
I do, unless they just thought he's going to be just a backup. But that seems like a high pick to use on a guy that you think is just going to be a backup. I think this is one of those situations where, look, the Bucs needed they needed a project, right? They needed somebody. Obviously, they had Tom Brady, and you knew what he was going to do. But they needed a young guy behind him to kind of develop. And I mean, you know as well as I do, quarterbacks in the NFL it's a crapshoot, right? It's a 50-50 chance, even at the top, in the top, top 1, top 2, top 5. So I think they kind of said, you know what? Kyle Trask had a really good college career once he finally got the chance at Florida. They thought he could make all the throws necessary, be able to distribute the ball to the playmakers. So let's give him a shot and see how it works. And thus far, it obviously, he's barely played in the NFL, and we'll see what opportunity he gets. But I mean, it's not like he's not getting a chance here in Tampa at the moment. He's getting reps and he's getting an opportunity. It's just a matter of, is he going to be able to beat Baker Mayfield and be the guy?
Yeah. Dan says Mayfield will implode and Trask will come in. So we'll see. What else do you think about this Buccaneer team? Obviously, with Brady being gone, I know they've been pretty salty on defense the last couple of years. I personally think the Saints are going to win the NFC South running away. I think they're clearly the best team. What do you see for the entire? I mean, how's this defense for the Bucs going to look this year?
I think it'll be okay, but I just don't know that there's. Look, this is not going to be a really good Bucs team. It's just not. I don't know that Todd Bowles was necessarily set up to succeed. Where you kind of look at last year and the way it was, where look, the Bucs won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. That's the thing that happened, and it was a miraculous run. But the way they kind of structured the salaries and in relation to the salary cap and all that stuff, they put themselves in a position where at some point you got to pay the piper, right? And this is the year, last year to some degree, but really this is the year they're kind of paying for that. And it's a situation where I don't know that there's a ton of the super high-end guys across the board. There's some really good players. Levante David can still play. We'll see what Devin White's capable of now that he's kind of back and all in on the team, and Vita Vea and what have you. So it's not like they don't have any players. It's just that I don't know that across the board they're going to be able to compete with the Saints and some of the other ones. So this is going to be I don't think it's going to be a particularly strong year for the Bucs, and I think there's a high percentage of possibility that they're looking for a new head coach here in a few months.
That'll be interesting. I was going to ask you, like, what's the vibe around the Tampa area? Because obviously the last few years with Brady at quarterback, the fans knew they had a chance to make the playoffs and maybe win a championship. So what's the vibe now that kind of not sure who your quarterback's going to be and not sure if the coach is going to last very long? Are we back to the old Bucs?
It's not that bad. It's certainly not that bad. And again, there's still kind of that Super Bowl and that Brady buzz that's still here, where it's like, man, that actually happened. I definitely think there's some of that. And I think most of the fans understand that, you know what, that was a magical run and it's going to be crashing back to earth, so to speak. But, maybe you can make a situation. The division is still not very strong. It wasn't great last year, obviously. So maybe there's a chance you pull an upset or two here, and maybe Baker Mayfield was the #1 overall pick. He's had flashes of success. So maybe this change of scenery is what he needs, and maybe it can all kind of click. But I'm pretty skeptical, as you can tell, where I don't think this is going to be a particularly good Bucs team. And I think there's a good chance that they're going to be looking for a new head coach.
We got a text here on the Titan Mar text line. George down in Naples, speaking on Kyle Trask. He says, Matt, do you think he's not going to get a fair shake because of the offensive coordinator change?
No, I don't think it's that. I think he's gotten – look, they brought him in – they brought in Baker Mayfield, as I said, for a reason. And they had seen enough in practice to have at least some sort of an idea on what Kyle Trask can and can't do. And coaching changes coordinators and assistants. That happens all the time in the NFL. I think he's been given the opportunity in the offseason to have a chance. And the simple fact that he is starting the second preseason game tells you that they're allowing this to go on. It's not like Anthony Richardson and the Colts, right, where they knew immediately, okay, he's the guy. So they're giving him some opportunities. It's just a matter of, is he good enough to take advantage of it compared to a former number 1 overall pick?
Another text here on the Titan Tomorrow text line from William. He wants to know who your picks are to play in the Super Bowl this year and which rookie quarterback will have the best year.
I'm really intrigued by Anthony Richardson. I don't, and that's going to go either way, right? It could be really good. It could be really bad. I grew up in Indiana, so my friends back home are all Colts fans, and I was trying to kind of tell them leading up to the draft and on pro day and what have you, my scouting report on Anthony Richardson. It's just like, guys, I don't know. He could be great. He could be an absolute bust. And I guess in theory, he could be somewhere in the middle, but usually it's going to be one extreme or the other. So I'm just fascinated to see what he does. I mean, he's been given the opportunity. God knows he has the physical tools, right? But can he put it all together and be a consistent player? Or are the Colts running the risk of throwing him to the wolves too early, where that can be a situation, a little bit different level, but obviously, I think with Felipe Franks at Florida, I think maybe he got thrown in before he was ready, and there was some damage there. And NFL, as you know, it's a different beast. So that's not a good answer to the question, but I am absolutely fascinated to see what they do with him. And then Bryce Young, obviously, and Stroud. Bryce Young is about as good as a college quarterback that I've seen. I mean, he's on a very short list of people that I've seen with my own eyes and what he was able to do. So I think he certainly has the high-end potential there. But as a rookie with that franchise, it'll be tough.
Yeah. And your Super Bowl picks?
I haven't thought far enough ahead on that. I've been so focused on, honestly, this is a great thing to admit. I'm as unprepared for the college football season as I've ever been in this job, just because of all the realignment and USF in a stadium and all this other stuff, where I haven't even gotten down to the brass tacks on that, let alone the NFL. So I do not have a good pick right now. That's a terrible answer, and I'm sorry.
It's all good. Ruse Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. A few more minutes with Matt Baker from Tampa Bay Times. I want to get your thoughts, obviously, on Florida and Florida State. Let's start with Florida State. They're getting a lot of love.
Yep.
I don't think they're that as good as people think. I did not think that last year, getting prepared to call the game. They were fortunate to beat Florida, fortunate to beat Oklahoma. I mean, they really did. I think they beat one, maybe two teams with a winning record all year long. Give me your thoughts on the Seminoles. Are they going to be as good as advertised?
So I completely hear what you're saying. And when you look at the way they ended the season, they beat up on a bunch of cupcakes. And a lot of those teams were playing with backup quarterbacks, or banged up quarterbacks, Louisiana, and I think Syracuse at that point, Miami. So I completely understand and I hear what you're saying. But I'm buying in. I've got him fourth on my AP top 25. I think Jordan Travis is really, really good. And I think another year he's got a chance to add some consistency there, where it's not just beating teams with his legs the way he did against the Gators. It's with his arm. I think the talent around him is going to be better. If Johnny Wilson develops into the player he's capable of, then he is the second most talented receiver in the country behind Marvin Harrison Jr. probably. Keon Coleman, the addition from Michigan State, is going to be really good. The O-line is going to be better. I think the running backs are going to be really strong. I think Travis is going to be in position to make a lot of plays, and just the stability of the coaching staff too. It's not just Mike Norvell. I think they only lost one assistant from last year. So I think you kind of take the fact that they broke through last year. They bring in they retain almost every key staff member, almost every key player from that team. And then you just add in that factor of time, where I think they're going to be really, really good. And I think I'll take them over Clemson to win the ACC. And I think I've said all offseason, I think they're going to be in the playoff conversation in the last week of the year. And we had to sit here today. I think they'll be in.
That'd be interesting. I'm just the opposite of you. I think they lose it. I think they lose LSU. I think Clemson wins the ACC. I think Clemson's going to be outstanding this year because of their quarterback and their new offensive coordinator. Getting rid of DJ Uiagalelei was the best thing they could have done. Do you cover the Miami very much, or it's almost like the Miami Hurricanes. Nobody's even talking about them. And maybe it's because we're up here in North Central Florida, but I just don't hear a whole lot coming out of Coral Gables.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just because they're going to be kind of meh this year, and honestly, I think they're in a similar situation as Florida, where they're not, second year coach. Last year did not go as well as they had hoped. Obviously, Miami was a notch lower, but their recruiting class was a notch higher. But I think if you look at it, they're not going to be so bad as to put Mario Cristobal on the hot seat. Like I think the Gators are not going to be so bad as to put Napier on the hot seat, but they're also not going to be challenging for the conference championship. I think so. They're going to be in that middle where it's kind of a little bit boring. I am interested in Miami just because I never know what to expect from Shane. Absolutely never. I like Tyler Van Dyke a lot heading into last season based on what he showed at the end of 21. Then he wasn't himself and he got hurt. And watching him with my own eyes against Florida State, I felt bad for him just because you could tell he just had nothing. And maybe there's going to be some incremental growth on the offensive line, some of the skill players and what have you. But I think Miami's just, I'm with you. They're just kind of there right now. But maybe this recruiting class they just signed and some of the guys they've gotten through the portal, maybe that can be enough to give some Canes fans some optimism going into 24 that they can kind of really break through under Mario.
All right, the Gators under Billy Napier in year 2. I predicted they win 8 games. I like the players he's brought in. I think the young receivers are going to be outstanding. I think they look a little bit more like a SEC defense in the front 7. And I think Graham Mertz, I don't care where he played in the last couple of years, I think he's extremely smart, accurate, is going to be really consistent at the quarterback position. That's my opinion. I'm in the very, very small minority when it comes to that, and I'm never a homer. I just go by what I've seen. Give me your thoughts on the Gators.
Yeah, you're a notch. I'm higher on FSU than you are. You're a notch higher on Florida than I am. I've been all offseason. I've thought in the 5 to 7, 7-5 range would make sense. I've recently come around to the 6-6 to 7-5 being a little bit more realistic. Just because, as you said, I think the young receivers they brought in have really added a dimension to here. They're freshmen. I'm sure they're going to play like freshmen at times, but they've added something there. And like you said with Mertz, I think you're right. I think he's a really smart guy. We saw in his first game against Illinois when he was 20 of 21, he can complete passes. So I think he just needed to change his scenery. And if he can do some of the things that Anthony Richardson did, just complete the easy pass, right? Not going for broke, not scrambling for 50 yards or whatever, but throw the 5-yard pass, the 8-yard pass over the middle, those type of things to sustain drives and be consistent there. Add in the fact that the Gators are going to have a really good run game with Etienne and Johnson, and the fact that, as you said, I think the defense is going to be better. You can see some progress there. I mean, the schedule is brutal, and it gets 5 teams in my top 14 on my AP ballot, something like that. So that's going to be a challenge, but I think it's going to be one of those situations, Shane, where they're better in a lot of ways, even if it doesn't show up in the win-loss column at the end of the day, if that makes sense.
Text here on the Titan Mar text line from John up in Memphis, Tennessee. He wants to know, Matt, can the Gators beat Utah? Looks like they'll be playing their 3rd-string quarterback.
That's the wild card there, right? If Cam Rising is healthy and playing for Utah, I like Utah in that situation. I have not been to Utah, but apparently that stadium is one of the best in the country. So I think it's going to be absolutely rocking. Maybe some altitude there. There's going to be some issues there for Florida. But if they are playing a backup or a potentially 3rd-string quarterback, that's obviously levels the playing field a bit. So yeah, I think I had Utah number 12 on my AP top 25 ballot, assuming Cam Rising is healthy. And if he's not, and obviously we'll find out here in a couple weeks, then that changes everything, I think, because he's a really good player.
He's a very good quarterback. I don't see how there's any way he can play coming off an ACL tear in January. I just don't see it. I could be wrong, but we shall see. All right, Matt, before we let you go, I know you don't have your Super Bowl picks because you haven't done your homework, but you got a Final Four 14 playoff already for college football?
I do have that. I think Georgia's in. I think Ohio State is in. I've said Florida State. And then I think I'll take Michigan. I could see LSU sneaking in there as well. Or, I mean, the Pac-12, one of those guys is going to be really good in the Pac-12, but they might kind of beat each other up. I've got Georgia number 1 on my AP top 25 ballot, but if I had to pick today, I'd pick Ohio State to win it all. I know it's kind of a weird thing to say, but Georgia, there's no reason not to have them number 1, just in terms of the talent and everything. But my thought process is it's so hard to win one. It's even harder to win 2 in a row. 3, that hasn't happened since Minnesota in like the 1930s or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just think there's going to be something that happens along the way. Maybe some bad injury luck. We don't wish that on anybody, but that's part of the game. Maybe some just weird fluky turnovers, weird balances, that sort of thing. Something happens where Georgia stumbles, and I think Ohio State has generally recruited well enough the last few years to put themselves in a position to win a title. It's when everything breaks right. So if I had to pick, there's no like schematic reason or anything. I just think the Buckeyes are probably due to break through.
Yeah, I think Georgia's going to go. They probably still win all their games, but they're going to miss Stetson Bennett.
Yep.
They're going to miss him a lot because he did things you cannot teach. Last question. Is there anybody out there flying under the radar, kind of like that could be like a TCU next year?
I don't know if they're under the radar, but I like Washington a good amount. You know, Michael Penix, the quarterback, he's a Tampa guy. I mean, he's the nation's leading passer last year. He's really, really good and has really good receivers. And in that league where, again, there's a good amount of solid teams with your Oregon State and Utah and USC and Oregon, I think Washington's got a chance to kind of break through there and certainly be a playoff team. I don't know that they're going to be able to go to the national championship, but I think they're one that I don't think it's talked about enough as a potential playoff team.
Yeah. Matt, appreciate your time. Let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter and read your work.
Absolutely. I'm on Twitter, or I guess X it's called now, at mbaker.
Oh, yeah.
And our website is tampabay.com.
Good stuff as always. Appreciate your time, my man.
Sure. Thanks, Shane.
That's Matt Baker from the Tampa Bay Times. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. Silverback Concrete is a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that build commercial structures with unrivaled quality. Silverback Concrete, you stand on it. We stand by it. I want to thank Matt Baker and JC for joining us on the Titan MR hotline today. This Day in Sports, which is brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. This is in 2015, the PGA Championship at Whistling Straits. Australian Jason Day wins, beating Jordan Spieth by 3 shots. That's This Day in Sports, brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Couple things here. Again, we're all got our own opinions, folks. So take them for what it's worth. I give you my opinion. I try to shoot straight. As y'all know, if you've watched my program for 3 years, I shoot straight. I don't hold anything back. I go by what my eyes tell me, what my experience tells me. And it's never a shot at any individual or any player, any coach, because that's the great thing about sports is we all have our own opinions, and everybody's an expert, right, when it comes to any sports. So I firmly believe the Gators will be perfectly fine on offense with Graham Mertz at quarterback. As I've said many times, he reminds me of a guy Steve Spurrier would have had in his lineup of quarterbacks, a guy who drops back, makes good decisions, throws accurate, anticipates. People talk about he can't get the ball down the field. That's garbage. He throws the ball plenty far enough. He has plenty of arm strength. He's got a better arm than I had, better arm than Danny had, better arm than Terry Dean, look, he can play quarterback. I don't care what happened in Wisconsin. That's over with. People got to look at what Jaden Daniels did at Arizona State. He did nothing at Arizona State. And then he turned it around and became a really good college quarterback for the LSU Tigers. So, look, I'm being optimistic, maybe more than I should be, but I really like what Billy Napier's done with this team. I absolutely love the freshman wide receivers. Again, it's going to come down to the front 7 on defense, which is starting to look more like SEC caliber players. So, Andy says, let's keep Mertz healthy. Yes, I agree with that. He's going to be fine. But the game manager thing really bothers me because I really think they're going to throw the football 25 to 30 times a game. I really do. Because they trust him. You know, it's a lot easier to throw a 10 to 12 yard curl route than it is to try to turn around and hand it off and get 5 or 6 yards. So remember that. Throwing and catching is not that hard if you're consistent, know where to go with it, and you're accurate, and you're anticipating throwing the ball on time. Tomorrow we'll have Brent Beard. We appreciate everybody chiming in, being a part of our program. If you got any businesses or anything out there that want